guys, and welcome to the news. Oh, how exciting.
I know, right?
It's so exciting. Cool. But before we get to the news, we need to get to the weather. And what is the weather like today, Mr. Fernando?
It's 79.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Wow. That is almost brisk.
I know.
What's the high today going to be?
The high is going to be 84.
What, is it supposed to rain?
Like yesterday, yeah.
I mean, it rained all day yesterday and the day before that. But wow, that's
the low is going to be 73. So you're going to have a nice
I think we already had the 73. No, I won't. Yeah, no, there won't be any. Either way.
Calling Sony in Tennessee.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is September. You know, it's time for the cool and blissfully seasons of September. And speaking of that, we've got a great news show. We got a bunch of stories. We're going to try to bang through as many of these as we can. It is going to be a packed docket. But let's start out with the simple ones first.
Yes.
The Apex Show COVID requirements. This one, so Apex and SEMA happen at the same time, which I didn't know that.
I didn't know that until I said.
Yes. So we know what.
What is Apex?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Really wasn't even for the fact of what it stands for. The reason is that both SEMA and these guys happen at the same time.
Okay, at the same time, at the same place?
Yeah, Vegas. Yeah. So, and they've come out and they've said, this is what you're going to need. And they've kind of followed what CES is doing.
Mask.
Which is...
Yeah.
No, forget mask. Mask is state mandated there. Any inside convention, you have to wear a mask. Yep. Not to be confused with sporting, because sporting events in Las Vegas, you don't have to wear a mask once you get to your seat, but you have to wear a mask on your journey to the seat, kind of like Washington.
Yep.
For the baseball game, not for the NFL game. That's a whole other topic. SEMA, on the other hand, which I did read an extensive article yesterday that came out after the news. I had got the news. SEMA has not stated what they're going to require for this yet, because they want to wait until the last minute to see what's going on. More than likely, they're going to follow suit, but what Apex is requiring is a card and or a swab, saying that you're negative, I believe 24 hours before the show. They're also thinking about having testing centers on site for people that have not been tested. So as far as what SEMA is going to do, we don't know yet, because it's funny, this article I read last night was an interview with the president of SEMA. And I don't know how many different ways you can ask the same question, but these reporters managed to do that. Basically the question was, do you guys know what your requirements for the convention are going to be? And the answer was no. We're waiting until we get closer, because this is a ever-changing situation. So we don't want to put a firm stance in the ground right now and not be correct. So it's going to happen one way or the other, because there's 12 conventions before SEMA. So it's not like SEMA is going to be the first.
Yeah.
So everyone that's kind of like, oh man, I don't know if SEMA's going to happen. There's 12 conventions before SEMA happens.
Yeah.
So I think we're in good hands, to say the least, as far as.
But that's what we're hoping.
That's definitely what we're hoping, because we want to go to SEMA.
Yes.
In other news,
I like that one.
Audiofrog provides speakers from Morgan Motor Company. Didn't even know this was a thing as far as this car company. I didn't know. Morgan's kind of outside of my wheelhouse.
Well, I don't think we live in the overseas, so.
Well, even still, I don't think this car falls into my category of affordableness. However, with that being said, congratulations to Audiofrog, because now they're going to be offering a premium audio system comprised of GB10s, 25s, and a 60 along with a GS, I'm sorry,
GS, not GVs.
Yes, GS 10, 25, 60, and an 8-inch
Subwoofer.
in this car, which I feel will be pretty nice. Nice three-way set. Getting fit into that little tiny driving machine there ought to be pretty cool.
Dude, yeah.
Here's the thing I don't understand. It's considered a option. So what does the car get if it doesn't have that? I'm assuming nothing.
But that's what I'm assuming. Yeah.
I mean, because
for me, those cars are collectors, right? Like, you just have it in there in the garage just for one Sunday to drive, going to get some coffee and a bagel, and then come back and don't touch the car. I don't know. For me, it's how I do it.
I mean,
how you do it over here.
I mean, if I can afford this car, I'm driving it quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you can afford that car, you have more than.
Yeah, I'm not worried about whether or not I can.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just.
Mask. What kind of mask?
The Darth Vader mask, of course. Don't be silly. But there can only be one.
Yeah.
Top Car Audio Products
2021.
2021.
ASAP.
We talked about this before we went away, and
yeah,
because Ground Zero had gotten one for the speakers that you happen to have, the Uranium SQs. However, there is more. There is more. For the third year in a row, Kenwood won the top head unit. This year, the DMX 8020 DABS. So this is a European award. We won't see awards like this until after, I think, CES, but that's a whole nother thing. Plus, the ESA is much more on point as far as giving out awards than any place here in the United States, which is a shame, but hey, you know, you do what you can. Comparable radios for this, for the US model, meaning the same radio without the DAB tuner, is going to be the DMX 907S, which we know that's the XR line, which I would agree with that. It's an awesome radio. And speakers, Eton, the Eton Onyx, one for component set. Best in-car speaker system, a series which we don't have in the United States. Oh, that was neat. Siri launched. Cool. But Eton is an up-and-coming brand here in the United States. It clearly hasn't taken over the way it has in Europe. But and I believe they make a lot of amplifiers, which I think we've talked about before. They had like the 7-channel amplifier that was pretty cool. Yeah, obviously, we had mentioned the Ground Zero Uraniums. Pioneer took an award for its compact subwoofer, the TSWX010A. I know. Wow. I mean, that's all they had, though. Let's be honest. When it comes to Pioneer, they didn't have any other equipment, so it wasn't like they could be like, "Oh my God, let's do that." And then Audiotech Fisher, which I think wins something from them every year. Yeah. They won for the Conductor, which, if we remember, the Conductor made a big splash earlier this year, which is just a really cool knob.
And thank you to CE Outlook
for supplying us with this great content that we're rebroadcasting to you so that you are up to date on what's happening in the news. Stay tuned to after the show. We publish all the links to the CE Outlook in the description of the video. So if you'd like to know more and get your read on the story, by all means head over there and check it out. Totally. I know you're gonna love this one. What your car knows about you.
Everything.
I mean, yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, it more than likely can.
Keep in mind you have conversations in the car that you should not have in the other places.
So back in, 2003, 2004, when Chevy launched OnStar, we knew that things were going to change because now you had a service that could listen in on your car and you could have a conversation with whether you wanted to or not. Meaning, even though you had the push to talk button, the reality is, as we soon found out, they could turn on and listen anytime they want. And the government could get subpoenas in order to do that. We, at the time, I had a friend that worked for the DEA, and they were chasing a drug lord down in South Florida, and they had a drug dealer. We'll call him whatever you want. I don't know if he was a lord, but anyways, they were chasing a drug dealer down there that happened to have a Hummer, and they had gotten a subpoena to turn on his OnStar, so they could listen to everything he said as well as track his vehicle, and they were able to arrest him because of it. So that was like, wow, that sucks.
Yeah.
But now with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, you're plugging in, you're moving over your phone book, you're using your GPS, and a lot of that data is still stored on the radio if you do not unpair your system. So what's happening is rental car companies, car dealerships that loan out cars, basically anybody that will loan you a car is now having to figure out what to do, meaning they have to go back into the car after you're done using it and delete your information, as opposed which
I do it all the time.
I mean, I feel you have to do it.
I rent a car, you know, you plug your phone and everything, or you pair your Bluetooth because you're gonna drive I don't know how many hours.
Yeah.
In the end of the day, it's like you're gonna return the car. Before I do that, I go and delete everything. You know?
Well, I feel it's like when you go to a hotel and you plug in your Netflix account. The last thing you do before you leave the hotel is unpair your Netflix account.
It's funny, we never do that.
Yeah, I have to, because I know.
Well,
I never thought about this with my car, because it's like, unless my phone plugs in, I just assumed there was no way to get this data out, but I was wrong. Now, the article doesn't go into how they're getting the information out of the car.
Control.
But, you know, I mean, we plug into almost every car we test.
Yeah.
And, you know, it just asks, would you like to move your information over? And we go, no. And that's pretty much the end of it as far as that goes.
But that doesn't mean
Yeah, so there are lawsuits happening, of course. I mean, there has to be lawsuits. Somebody has to get paid. I just don't know who's, like, what rental car company or is got the time to deal with stealing your information like that, or how they're going about doing it. Because, I mean, how smart are these guys? I mean, what tool do they have that we don't know about that they're able to dig into? Now, if we're looking at just using route navigation built into the radio, obviously that information stays in there. But I feel with like Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, it's kind of a much safer world as far as that goes, as far as like the car taking your information. But, you know, basic rule of thumb is if you're going to be using the onboard nav in a rental car, delete where your route is.
Totally. That's what I'm saying. Like, as soon as you're going to return that car, make it as factory as possible, you know? Like, I don't know. That's what I do. I'm paranoid. Yeah. You know?
I mean, well, apparently not paranoid enough if you're not. Apple has all your information, 100%.
Oh,
well,
totally.
Android, you know, dude, listen, between Apple, Alexa, and Google, whatever, they know everything there is to know about you. Everyone's got a Facebook or an Instagram or a YouTube or, you know, there's so much of you out there.
There's no freedom anymore.
Well, I mean, okay, there's no privacy. There's plenty of freedom. The privacy is the thing. If you're a privacy person and you've got all these accounts, you're silly.
Yeah.
Because there is no nothing.
They always listen.
and you know, the great thing is, which I have no problem with, like when we'll talk about something, like, hey man, you'd be really cool, is when that information appears on my phone magically, so I don't actually have to go search for it. I almost talk about stuff so that I won't have to go search for it. Remember the dual microphone that I bought? We just talked about it for a while, and eventually it popped up in my feed, and I ordered them. So I was kind of like, oh, it did all the work for me.
Yeah. Well, remember the backpack that I told you? There's like kind of, you know, you switch it and it flips. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And then the next day, you know, I'm going to Instagram and voila, it's a backpack, and I'm like, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know, hey.
Yeah.
Moving forward through time ever so slowly. School of Fab continues monthly episodes. For those of you guys that are fans of Mark at Car Audio Fab, which I know a lot of you guys are, as well as buying products from Mobile Solutions, which would be the wire ruler or anything else among those products that they have. They have
Yeah.
a great selection of router bits and trainings. The new MasterTech Expo, which is scheduled to happen in March, which I know Kicker right now is giving away a spot for. If you haven't registered, head over to Kicker and register for your chance to win a free ticket. They're making a sweet deal.
Really?
Like, oh yeah. Brian is obviously kicking in a ticket to get in, but they're paying for your flight. They're giving you money for food. They got you covered. It's a sweet deal for sure. So I would definitely head over and do that. They picked the worst picture of Mark for this thumbnail. I mean, that is like a terrible picture.
That was a lie.
Yeah.
That was a lie.
But basically what's happening is the School of Fab is going to happen monthly now. I'm assuming either forever and or until the MasterTech Expo. So if you didn't check out last night's broadcast of the show, you can head over to them on Facebook. And or if you're a member of the 12 Volt Clean Wire Club, I did post the link there.
Yeah.
So definitely head over and check it out. And, get your Fab Learn on for sure.
Yeah. So the next one is going to be September 2nd.
Oh, well, that was the one
yesterday.
that just happened.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I just read the whole thing right
that was
there.
yesterday.
Yeah.
So the next one will be in October.
In
Probably
October.
the first week of October.
All right. If you're not, just check mastertechexpo.com and you will find all this information.
I feel this is a lead up to the MasterTech Expo, just to give a lot of people an idea of things that will allow them to dig deeper.
The only confusion I have about this is it's gonna be just for industry people, or it's gonna be open for any? Because when you, as a manufacturer, right, Kicker, it's open for people to win. For people to win this event, or this ticket. What happens if you're not in the industry?
You can go to this.
Okay, so everybody can go.
It's a MasterTech class. So here's the thing.
Sounds good.
The reason why this is a pay for play event.
Okay.
All right. In the description, he talks about what to expect.
Whoever pays for it is able to.
Well, yeah. If you, this is not something that like the casual guy is going to go to because it's expensive. I mean, you're looking at between the class itself, a flight, a hotel, food. That's thousands of dollars. So if you're a DIY and you want to take yourself to the next level and you're willing to invest that amount of money in your education, then yes, there's no reason why you shouldn't go. But that's also the limiter for random dudes that are just like, oh, it's a $20 class, I'll take that, and they'll disrupt it. So I mean, I feel anybody that wants to improve their fab ability.
I think when you talk about all right, $300, $400, even $500 is fine.
Yeah, this
but
is
when you talk about $2,000 or something like that, it's when you start ooh.
It's when you separate the men from the boys. But the lineup of classes that they're going to teach there. I mean, you're going to learn welding, upholstery.
Oh, it's going to be insane. Yes.
Lots of things outside of the general woodworking that you would normally have. They're going to have laser classes and CNC classes, and it's a whole bunch of stuff going on. So it is MasterTech for sure. I think the name will separate itself from everything. But if you do want to go, head over to mastertechexpo.com. We are scheduled to be there, so you will get a chance to meet us.
Ooh.
I know. It could be really exciting. I keep getting reminded. Next story up. This one is weird. Best Buy testing AutoTech Mega Hub. Now, I didn't know, I read the article, and did you read this article?
No, not that one.
Okay. When they say auto, they mean automated. All right. Basically, what has happened since COVID is Best Buy has gone back and they've looked at who's buying their products and how they're buying their products, and what they're trying to come up with is a great idea for fulfillment. So Amazon, you order something, and Amazon is getting different. In certain places, they have the boxes you can pick up. They have the delivery you can get in 24 hours. where we're at here, which is funny, it still takes 2 days, even though there's like 3 warehouses around us and God only knows how many pickup centers, but still can't get stuff anytime soon. I've heard stories of people getting stuff in a timely manner, but never anything I want.
Right.
But Best Buy is building into their stores. What they're doing is they're shrinking their footprint inside of the actual retail store and creating more warehouse space for storing products and distributing products. So like people that want to pick up. They're also setting up studios, it seems like, for interviews or online chat or online demos. So apparently it's very successful so far. And I think they've only done like 10 beta stores. But it seems to be working rather well for them. Now, it's not just obviously, it's for all the electronics they sell there. It's just, you know, Best Buy sells car audio, so it's one of the stories we should report on. But I don't know. I wish them all the best of luck, of course, because, you know, like the other day when we bought the drone, it was, hey, man, I want the drone. I want to see what it looks like. It's,
and
you know,
25 to life, that's right. You know, like, I mean, in the 90s, probably
Circuit City.
Little bit more than that, too, because I still went to Best Buy and just amazed with all the car audio that they have.
Circuit City had it better.
Yes,
Circuit City was way better than
totally,
Best Buy. Plus, we also had Sound Advice, and out of all of them, Sound Advice destroyed.
Yeah.
So...
But still, like, if you talk
you're
about
just
these...
an average Joe, it was nice to go to
Best
these
Buy
places.
and you can still see radios and speakers and touch it.
Can't do that anymore.
I know,
but, because, like, at least at our Best Buy, it's like, they have washers and dryers in the car audio department, so...
Yeah. Dude, it's very little.
Yeah.
It's no more. Yeah.
All right, so that's that.
Yeah.
I know. And then, ooh, this one's a good story.
Right. Hey, if it's no more, just.
So here's my take on this. I really didn't care what these guys were doing so much. So, you know, they're looking to. All right. So a couple reasons why I picked this story.
Okay.
Was one, you had made the conversation this week where you were talking about how like the entry-level brands like Boss and Power Acoustic and all those what we call third-tier brands had come out with the floating screen long before Alpine launched the Halo and Pioneer had theirs and Kenwood had theirs.
Correct.
Pardon me, we had the giant floating tablets from those other brands. And everyone just ridiculed the crap. Oh my God, these are so terrible. And granted, the first generation of those was pretty weak. And as far as feel, and just like they felt
new,
flimsy. And that's why Alpine built their Halo like a tank, you know.
Okay.
Because they wanted a much more solid experience. I mean, they're Alpine. If they're going to dig into this, they're going to make something that is rock solid. Not to say that these current models of these aren't rock solid. I honestly don't know. I've never played with them. And this is not to pick on Boss. This is more to have a conversation about these floating screens. The 8-inch screen, the 10-inch screen, which seems to be the current standard. And now we have the 13-inch screen. This reminds me of the days of drop-down screens when you know the first size was a 7-inch, then it went up to a 10-inch, and then it's like, do you have a 20? Then there was a 15.1, then there was a 22 or 23.
Yeah.
I'm sure at some point we even had a 30-inch drop-down TV, which was just ridiculous because the 20s were too big. They weighed way too much. The latches always broke. But now we're talking about a 13-inch floating screen in the dash. So basically the laptops that we have sitting in front of us, sitting inside the dash, looking back at us with all their LED brightness just blinding us to put a small CarPlay screen. One of the things that I think would be really cool is like in this truck it has an Android screen, which is I'm not a fan of. It's slow, it's clunky. But one of the cool features is its ability to break out the screen. So like the bottom half of the screen does air conditioning. So in looks, it looks cool because you can have Apple CarPlay at the top, other controls at the bottom.
Yeah.
Functionality is totally unusable as far as I'm concerned because it's just slow, it's clunky, it doesn't work the way it's supposed to. But now we're talking about a 13-inch screen, whatever orientation it's in, whether you can turn it or have it this way. I almost feel like we need to start seeing more of that functionality where it's like CarPlay goes or Android Auto goes up into the top corner. And then we have other features around us, like if we're listening to the radio or using onboard nav other than CarPlay or Android Auto nav.
So I feel that the reason why we're going with this 13-inch, 12-inch, and all 22 inches screen in the dash is because we want different things at the same time, right? Like Tesla has the GPS, and you can have your music, and you can have the sensors,
because it's essentially a laptop.
So Kenwood came out with this similar thing, right? You know, you can have different things at the same time. If you're not gonna have that,
well, there again, Weber fan. 600 resolution minimum. My Halo 9 is not high enough resolution. I would agree with that. And the 13-inch that they have now is basically, they've never changed the resolution on any of them. They've always been, they just keep making a bigger screen, so it is kind of blurry. My High 10 is acceptable. There again, I agree, it is acceptable. But the Kenwood 1057 should be the standard. And there again, it's only 720, and everybody wants 1080. Nick was behind a Lincoln midsize SUV yesterday, and its screen looked huge at a red light. Seemed like we're getting a bit ridiculous on screen size. And now you're right. I mean, when you look at like the new Jeep Grand Cherokee mega car that's coming out, there's screens everywhere. And the Dodge Ram has the 12-inch screen factory, and like you said, the Teslas have you really kind of like, we're just going to come out huge. We're all kill off sound man iPad kit. I mean, essentially, I mean,
they
that's
saw it on
happening.
YouTube and they're like, hey, let's put an iPad in here,
But I don't know where this is going. I mean, I know where it's going, but I think it's going a little bit crazy. Couple more stories real quick before we end this.
We go.
One of the stories that is kind of like sad. It's just disappointing. What you're looking at here is Fox Acoustics. Fox Acoustics, some of you may know as Foxbox. This is the second disaster that has befallen them in this wonderful time of COVID. Look at all that lumber back there. That's like $1 million worth of lumber that hopefully wasn't destroyed. There's more lumber sitting over here because look at all this lumber. Anyways, they have 4 buildings on their facility, 2 of which were destroyed at the recent hurricane that came through Louisiana, where they're based out of. They had just suffered a fire at the beginning of the year or the end of last year that decimated one of their warehouses that they were moving out of, but still took out a ton of product. And now we have this that just destroyed 2 of their tinfoil warehouses, it looks like. I mean, oh my gosh.
So for me, I just want to say, guys, just be patient, because they having a really, really rough time.
Yeah, they definitely can't catch
through this. So just if you have an order from these guys, just hey man, be kind,
be kind. Rewind.
No, understand that. Yeah, exactly.
Surprisingly enough, they said one of the main problems that they're running into has nothing to do with how fast they can recover or move stuff around, because apparently they're like, yeah, we'll be able to get everything put in one of the other 2 warehouses pretty fast. One of the main problems is power. They're looking at about 2 weeks before they're actually going to have power. Yeah, that'll happen. Never. One other thing before we switch over, actually 2 more things, so bear with me. Metro announced the new 95 5860G Ford E-Class Series Cutaway Dash. So if you have the cool van, they now have a dash kit for you. This is where this is kind of one of those things, like you have to really want this dash kit because there's no harness. There's a dash kit and there's a way to mount it, but there is no way to turn it on as of what I can see, unless somebody else makes an adapter. But as of right now, Metro does not have a harness listed. They just have the antenna adapter.
Hey, we're halfway there.
We're halfway there.
So,
I don't know, maybe iData makes something for this. I'm not sure. But either way, if you have a van and you're like, man, I need a better radio in it, at least one of the hard parts is done. I mean, for sure. But we have MPS limited amplifiers has finally been announced. We of course have one of the 2 channels in our possession that we'll be doing a review on here shortly.
Yeah.
We unboxed it the other day on Instagram, but they will be here in the United States. I'm thinking by the end of the month we should have a very limited supply of them available to us to purchase.
Yeah.
There's 2 amplifiers in the line. There's a 2-channel, and then there's a 4-channel. I'm sorry, a monoblock.
Yeah.
What makes the amplifiers unique? They are an AB amplifier, so it's a big 125 watt amplifier. But their claim to fame is that they're going to put out rated power at both 2 ohm and 4 ohm. It has a jumper in the bottom of the amplifier. There's essentially 2 power systems built into it that allow you to, once you jump, switch the jumpers, that you'll get the minimum amount, whatever the rated power is at both 2 ohm and 4 ohm. I can tell you that you do get more power at 2 ohm than you do at 4 ohm. However, it's not a substantial amount more.
But you get it.
But you get it.
Yeah.
Just because of the design of the amplifier, and there again, when these manufacturers give us rating numbers, it's always just kind of an outline or a loose, like, hey, we're going to do this. So it is designed for SQ in mind. One of the other unique features about this amplifier is that it has a right and left gain control.
That is right.
So you can, when setting this amplifier up, it is not going to be a 5-second, like just turn a knob until it sounds good. You're going to be doing some voltage matching on this to make sure that your right and left both have the same output voltage. And or if you just want to do balance for signal between left and right, you can do that right on the side of the amplifier, which is kind of nice. Wow, and we've gone a little bit long. I apologize. But hey, listen, guys. One other thing to keep in mind: Saturday we'll be doing the live show as normally planned. It may or may not be a little early. We don't know how Saturday's going to go yet. But if we can get to it a little bit earlier in the day, we plan on it, because we want to get out of here, because Road Trip 2021 is starting Saturday.
Yeah.
We have in our possession a 2015 Kicker Dodge Ram mega truck up on 44. It's looking all beastie-like. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure you head over to our Instagram page at 5-Star Car Stereo, where we took you to it yesterday, halfway through the show, and showed you all the fun, played you a couple songs. It's got 615s. It's got 3 2400.1s. It's got a bunch of Q-class mids and highs on it, powered off more KX amplifiers. It's a beast. I've been driving it I drove it home last night, drove it here this morning. My ears are just I beat the piss out of it on my way home last night.
Yeah.
And this morning on my way to work. Although I was a little bit more nice on the way to work this morning just because it was early and I don't want to have anyone going. But we'll be starting our road trip of just as much broadcasting as we can do. We'll be going on both Instagram and YouTube, the main 5-Star page, back and forth between them to answer your questions, take you on the journey with us. We're going to be stopping in a couple places. If you're on the 12 Volt Clean Wire Club, I know Fernando put up a link there. Another snapshot real quick that Fernando wants to show off. This was us last week in Seattle.
I just want to say thank you to the Bennett family, and of course Matthew and the whole team of Audio Control that host us. That was awesome. So thank you so much.
Fernando definitely had a time of his life. I had a great time as well. I got to see an SR-71, so Monoblock, it was totally worth
really
the
nice.
14 hours of plane ride. But that's it. That's what we got. If you guys didn't, share it, like it, love it, subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss this great show that happens every Friday at 9 o'clock. That's it, guys. You go forth, be merry. Have a great Friday. Make sure to follow us on Instagram for updates to what's going on in our schedule, as well as all the other socials that we do that bring you awesome 12-volt content.
I already got those.
Got what?
Snacks.
Don't forget
nuts.
chili. Oh, Jesus.
Spicy.
Man, no,
Yes.
I don't need you farting this whole way.
Dude, I got snacks.
Oh?
I went yesterday.
Oh, you went
and
and got
buy
snacks?
some snacks.
We
Yeah.
got there's only 2 cigarette lighters in this whole thing. I was looking this morning on my way. I'm like, there's an AC power outlet and 2
There
cigarette
you go.
lighters.
That's what we need. An AC power.
We need
That's
more
it.
than that, especially for yeah. All right, guys, listen, we're good. You guys
See you
have a
guys
great rest of your
tomorrow.
day. We'll see you next time.
Later. See you guys later on Instagram.